The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
In a new interview on the Top Flight Pod, Aaron Rodgers opened up about his first year with the New York Jets. And after listening to the full 2-hour conversation, I have never been more confident that Aaron Rodgers is in for a monster 2024 season. We'll talk about that and much more. It's the Jake Asman Show. So let's hit it and get it started. Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season.
I'm here because I believe in this team. I believe in Coach Saleh. I believe in the direction of Joe Douglas and what Coach has done the last couple of years. He's building something special the right way with the right values, the right type of leadership. I'm just here to be the best quarterback I can be, to lead and to inspire the guys around me.
We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go. Welcome in, Jet fans. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as we continue our run to 37,000 subscribers. Appreciate everyone tuning in this morning, whether you're watching live or after the fact. It goes a long way, and I am truly grateful for your support. Shout out to all the Asmaniacs. We got a bunch of you already using those emojis in the live chat. You can use them in the comment section as well, even if you're not watching this video live. So I want to remind people about that before we get started here. A lot to talk about. Of course, I want to talk about a really fascinating interview that Aaron Rodgers did on a podcast. Before I heard Aaron on it, I was not familiar with. So the podcast is called the Top Flight Pod. Doing some research on it, they don't have a huge following. So I don't know exactly how they landed Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we're talking about a podcast that only has like a couple hundred Twitter followers, like about 1,000 YouTube subscribers, but they got Aaron Rodgers on for about 2 hours. And it was a really fascinating interview just about Aaron Rodgers' life, his thought process, very little football talk. But from the football talk that we did get, I think Aaron Rodgers going through what he went through this past year has changed him for the better, Jet fans. And that's essentially what he said. So without further ado, this was Aaron Rodgers at a pivotal point in the podcast talking about everything that went down during his first year with the Jets. It was a long clip, so I edited it down to try and get the best of what he said. So without further ado, once more, here's Aaron Rodgers.
It's been a wild year for me. I did a darkness retreat. I came out of the darkness, and basically my time in Green Bay was up. And I did ayahuasca. And then a week later, I got traded to the Jets. And I have this incredible offseason experience in a new city, in a new town, with new teammates, a new organization, an owner for the first time, and really falling back in love with the game that I first fell in love with when I was 5 years old. And it was absolutely beautiful and special and deep and rich and yummy and just incredible. And then one of the most heartbreaking nights of my life. When I played 4 plays. Talk about an ego death. That's what it was. And I was heartbroken on September 11th in the locker room thinking my career might be over. And that's how I'm going to go out. And after all the beauty and the summer and Hard Knocks and a new team and just being in New Jersey and the excitement, talking with our amazing fan base and just feeling just the energy and the momentum building, and then that. I look back now and so much changed in my life for the better. And I often have a hard time with people who say, everything happens for a reason. Yeah. Just got to trust it. Sometimes I call bullshit on that.
Yeah.
Part of it is the ego wanting things to just be a little bit easier sometimes. But just like so many things had to happen for me to be sitting right here today with the both of you, so much changed in my life in the last 6 months that would not have happened had I not been carted off that field on September 11th after one of the highest highs in my sporting career, running on the field on 9/11 with an American flag, which I'd never done in my life. I'd always just run out, my helmet, to my low fives, to run the field on a special day when our country, 23 years ago, went through, 22 years ago, went through some major tragedy, was really special. And then for it all to be taken away. But only in that has all this beauty been able to happen in the last 6 months. So how can I not be grateful to the universe? And so much happened in my life the last 6 months that never would have happened had I been healthy. So I wish things had been different for myself, for the organization, for our fans, for so many players I love playing with. But I'm also very grateful for the many lessons and once again, the ego death and the phoenix rising from the ashes, a better version of myself.
A better version of myself, Phoenix rising from the ashes. I mean, look, I listened to the full conversation. That was the only part specifically about his first year with the Jets. But in this podcast, you can see the headspace Rodgers finds himself in. It's as good as it could possibly be. And I think it was interesting hearing him talk about how so much of his life had changed over the last couple of years, specifically how his ability to connect with players has changed over the years. Just a really good, fascinating insight into Aaron Rodgers as a person and how he thinks. So I definitely recommend people check it out. It's called the Top Flight Podcast once again. But what I got from that clip is, once again, doubt Aaron Rodgers at your own risk, because all-time greats are all-time greats for a reason. And this guy is coming in, 1, healthy, 2, with an even bigger chip on his shoulder, and 3, he still thinks he could play at an unbelievably high level for not just this upcoming year, but for a couple of years. And does he have to prove that? No doubt. But I think a really important comment that he made there in that clip I played is that when he got traded to the Jets, it helped him really fall back in love with football. I think this guy's as committed as he's ever been, which is exciting. So, the idea that he's a cancer, he's not committed, all the BS that has been said about this guy, if you really listen to him talk, and I did for 2 hours yesterday, it is clear none of that is even remotely true. And, obviously last year was a nightmare, but if the Jets actually are good this year, and dare I say they do something that hasn't been done since Joe Namath was the quarterback, we're talking about a storyline that actually starts. The championship DVD would start with Rodgers going down on September 11th, 2023. He talks about how everything that happened this past year has made him better, which would be scary for 31 other teams if that ends up being true. But I think what's so exciting about this Jets team is he doesn't need to be MVP Aaron Rodgers for the Jets to have a really good team. Their floor is 7 wins with no quarterback. Now you're talking about a Hall of Fame quarterback. His smarts alone will win you games. We saw this in Denver during Peyton Manning's last year when his arm was shot. That's why he had to retire. Peyton wanted to keep playing. He physically could not play. His body betrayed him. But Peyton Manning's brain power, his ability to see the field, manage the offense with a stacked defense that Denver had, allowed that Bronco team to win multiple playoff games and beat Cam Newton and the Panthers that year in the Super Bowl. And Rodgers is going to be better than what Peyton Manning was during his last year in Denver. And the AFC East is wide open for the Jets. Wide open. The AFC is wide open for the Jets. It is a year-to-year league. Kansas City's trying to do something that's never been done before, win 3 straight Super Bowls. Eventually, they're going to lose. Put them in their own category for now. They've earned it. But it's a year-to-year league. 5 of the 8 teams that were in the divisional round a year ago didn't make it this past season. The Houston Texans had the second highest odds to pick second overall going into this past year. They hit on C.J. Stroud. Now they're one of the Super Bowl favorites. Here we are a year later from that. Year-to-year league, man. Do they need some injury luck along the way? Sure, but that's every team, man. They would have made the playoffs even with all the O-line issues if Aaron didn't get hurt. Because it's all about the quarterback, man. Anyone really thinks Aaron Rodgers is going to be bad? Maybe he's not an MVP, but he's not going to be Zach Wilson. Not going to be Tim Boyle. If Aaron Rodgers is the 10th to 15th best quarterback in the league, this is an 11-win team at least. And now you're putting Aaron Rodgers in a spot where he has a stacked, absolutely stacked offense around him. And this is before the draft where I think we all expect the Jets' first-round pick, whether they're trading up, trading back, staying at 10, to be on an offensive player that's going to help them this year, whether it's a lineman, a tight end, or a receiver. But I'm so sick of the discourse about the Jets. If they're healthy, every team you could say that about. Yeah, do the Jets have some more health concerns than maybe some teams because of the Tyron Smith addition? Sure, but why are we acting like Aaron Rodgers is some sort of injury risk? This guy doesn't have a track record of being hurt. It was a fluke injury. Sure, he's older, but we've seen several quarterbacks be able to play into their late 30s, early 40s at a really high level. And Rodgers talking about what he has done to put his body in a spot where he could play, as to quote him in a different podcast, 2, 3, 4 more years, speaks for itself. It's not just Tom Brady. Tom Brady played till 45. I don't know if Rodgers will play till 45, but I could see Rodgers easily playing at least 2 more years with the Jets. So, ultimately, I think there was a lot of good there from Rodgers. Definitely recommend people check out the full interview. And it's amazing to me how he tells all these stories of connecting with different teammates and things that happened over the years. And people still try and paint this BS narrative that he's some sort of bad guy, bad teammate, boogeyman, cancer. Really is crazy to me. But really good interview. So shout out to the folks over at that I Can Fly pod who had Aaron Rodgers on for about 2 hours yesterday. Today's Jake Asman show, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, is presented by my friends at Huga House. See, Aaron was rocking a Huga House hat during that interview. Same hat he wore courtside at the Knicks playoff game last year. If you want the same hat Aaron's wearing or the hat I'm wearing right now, you go to HugaHouse.com and use promo code ASMAN at checkout so you can get yourself 15% off. These hats are comfortable. They come in different colors and styles. Check it out. You buy one hat at Huga House with my code, you'll get a second hat 30% off. So check it out, HUEGAhouse.com, and you could pick up your hat today. Once again, promo code ASMAN at checkout, and you can get your vintage-inspired cap 15% off. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Appreciate everyone tuning in on this fine Wednesday morning. Doing a giveaway over on my Instagram page, Gusbuster Umbrella, in honor of Masters Week. Of course, Gusbuster is the #1 umbrella in all of golf. So if you follow me on Instagram, add your name to the list, and we'll do a giveaway this week in honor of the Masters. At Jake Asman is where you can find me. It's linked in the description, or you could simply just take out your phone and go to Instagram and type in Jake Asman. Follow at Jake Asman Show while you were there as well. All right. A lot of people, of course, want in on the conversation. What did you make of what Aaron Rodgers said? And what are you expecting from Aaron Rodgers in technically his second year with the Jets, but to us, really his first full season actually playing on the field? Let's get to some calls right now. Let's go to Neil. He'll start us off. He's an Aaron Rodgers truther, self-proclaimed Aaron Rodgers truther. and Neil will get us rolling here. What's up, Neil?
I want to tell you something. When Aaron Rodgers speaks, it's like a preacher at a church with 10,000 people, and I would be the number one guy passing around the pail to put money in. I mean, he just gets me so pumped up, and I am just so excited about this upcoming season. It's just going to be amazing. I really think, you know, I can't stop thinking about these Jets. I look forward to your podcast every day. I love the guys. I love the chat. I love everything about it. I'm so glad that I ran into you and the whole group here, the Discord. Everybody here is dreaming about the same dream. And I really think it's going to happen. It's going to happen for us. I just know it. It's in my head and it won't come out. You know, I really thought last year was going to be special, but when it happens, I just, you know, Jake, I know you like your Yankees and, you know, everybody has the Knicks and it's this and it's that, but you know, and I know when we get where we need to be with this team, it's going to be like nothing else in our lives. Nothing is going to come close. When we get that division, when we get into the playoffs, I just think that he's going to have such an easy time with these weapons. Joe D is going to set him up for success. He's going to have time to pass. And I don't see how anybody could say that he's washed, because his arm is his arm. And who was it that said count to 3 or 5 or whatever? Somebody said when you have Rodgers at quarterback, you just go down the field and you count to 5 and you stick your hands out and the ball just hits his hands. That's how accurate. Nobody really can appreciate the accuracy on which he throws that football. And I think our receivers are going to all look great. I mean, when you really think about it, right? Alan Lazard, let's just go back to this, right? If you look at Alan Lazard highlights with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, he looked like a star. And just with any other quarterback and any other system and any other situation, he looks like total dog shit. And now we have a team that is going to have weapons. We're going to have an offensive line. I mean, remember the first 2 plays, right, of the opener when Brees ran for, oh, my God. He just, like, the defense didn't know what to do because they couldn't play the run. They couldn't stack the box. And he just busted through for what, 20? He had a 25-yard run, and then he had like a 50-yard run, right, Jake, in those first, like, series? Or am I wrong?
Well, the first play of the offense was a 25-yard run, and the crowd was just insane, man. I mean, you were going nuts. It's just,
and then he hit another one for like 50 after that, like in the same drive.
Well, it was later on after Rodgers got hurt and they were backed up inside like the 5, and he had that monster run.
That was after Rodgers went out.
And remember, if he was in shape, he would have scored. But because he missed training camp coming back from the injury, he was gassed at the end of the run. Yeah,
they ran him down. He ran out of gas. But everything is falling in place for us. The Dolphins stepping back. Tua is not going to have another 17-game season. I just don't see it.
Well, that's the thing. People talk about Rodgers staying healthy. I mean, the conversation a year ago was about Tua and Lamar. They both made it through in a year in which everyone got hurt. So there's luck involved in this. We understand that, but I'm not going to sit here and, do the if they're healthy. Like, we all understand that, but that's any team. Like, Patrick Mahomes needs to be healthy too for the Chiefs to win. Like, it's not crazy. Like, that's how life works.
And I think that we have enough on the team, and the defense is going to be so special. And like everybody's been saying, nobody's seen our defense with a lead. I mean, it is going to be insane. Quarterbacks are going to be like running for their lives, because once they set the hounds loose and we have a lead and we can pin our ears back, we haven't had a chance. When you really think about it, how many games in the last 2 years have we had a lead? I mean, the Texan game, we had in control, right? And look what happened to C.J. Stroud. He looked like he looked like a baby back there because we just got after him and there was nothing he could do. And I think that's going to happen over and over and over again. And I cannot see, with a healthy team in the first 5 games, I cannot see us having less than 21 to 31 points a game. I just don't see it, how it's not going to happen. And under those circumstances, it's going to be very, very difficult in my mind for a team to beat us all the way through the season. I just don't see it. I don't see where, everybody says, oh, I'll be happy with 10 wins and 9 wins. I just don't see us losing many games. And if we do, it's going to be a last minute, or it's going to be that he fails on a final drive once or twice or 3 times. And then the home playoff game. Oh God, it's going. We have to really be ready for something special this year. We have to do at least 2 road trips. I'm not going to London. I know you're excited about London. I've been there. I'm not a, if you like beer and you like bar food, it's a great place. But other than that, I like going to places in Europe where you could eat well and, see a lot of wonderful things. I'm not going to go there for a football game. It's just too far of a flight.
I'll convince you, Neil. I'm not worried. Now, let me ask you this.
I'm easy to convince. Go.
So Pittsburgh Mike writes in, that cigar smoke is fogging up your camera. Is it your camera? Is it the cigar? Are we hot boxing the backyard? I mean, a lot of people are curious.
The camera is, I have a crack in my phone right at the camera spot that's open. So whenever I have to go on my phone, I have to put my finger on the little camera thing. Like if I reverse it right now and I show the other way, the camera's in the back of my iPhone, it comes out beautiful because those camera lenses are all perfect. The one in my front, I cracked when I came off a lounge chair once and cracked my phone. I'm going to get it fixed, but I'm not looking. It's not like it's that foggy. I cleaned it up a little bit, no?
You look tremendous. Now, Darren makes a good point. He says, at least Jay can't throw you out the window since you're already outside.
That's true. I did fall out the window and I can't get back in. But, you have a new caller. The guy, boy, there's a guy, what's his name? Kenny? He loves to reminisce about the old days.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
Kenny? Is it Kenny?
I don't know, but man, oh man, he loves rambling about Ken O'Brien and the old days. And oh my God, we're gonna have the old guys. We're gonna have
Keith. His name is Keith.
Keith, that's the one. Oh my God, you think I ramble? I mean, at least I make some salient points. This guy's all over the place. This game here, I watched the Miami game. I mean, he's all. I don't know where to go with this guy. He's like all over the place.
I'll get you in a room with him, Neil. You and him will sit down. You can reminisce together.
Yeah, right. I'm looking for the old. When we were in Farmingdale at main event, I met one of the real old guys. It was the Is there a guy like another FM? There's an FM.
No,
who's
FM.
Like no,
who's
the guy you met? You met him at main event. He's really old. He's older than me, and he came from Jersey to come all the way to the main event. He's a skinny guy.
I remember who you're talking about. The name,
but he hasn't called into the show or anything like that. I know he's an avid listener, but he doesn't call in. Well, but do you know who I'm talking about?
I remember meeting him, but I forget the guy's name.
Right. He was, he's him, Southern Jet. We're going to be, I mean, oh my God. It's just, I can't wait for the season to start. And I love summer and I want the summer to go slowly. But God almighty, I am just so pumped up for this season. I don't know what to do with myself. I just wait day by day by day. The draft, look.
15 days till the draft, Neil. 15.
These goddamn exploding cigars. I gotta go, Jake. I'll call back later. Shit.
We couldn't throw Neil out of a window, but we could blow up his cigar there. I love positive Neil. There we go. Famous Jay writes in with a super chat to start us off. Here we go, baby. Relax. Jets are the best team in the NFL with Rodgers, LFG. I won't go that far, but Brian Baldinger called them the 3rd best team in the AFC. I don't think that's out of the question. You want to put Kansas City and Baltimore 1 and 2? You want to say it's Kansas City, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Jets are 4th? I'm fine with that. I think the Jets are better than the Bills and better than the Dolphins. A lot of people won't feel that way. They won't pick the Jets. They underrate the roster. They don't realize how good the defense is. They don't realize how good Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall are. Darren says we need to start a GoFundMe to get Neil a new phone. I think Neil can afford a new phone if he wants it. Sonny Crockett's been an Asmaniac for 1 full month. If the Jets win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, you could book it. Then I'll go on a legit ayahuasca retreat. Let's go, Jets, baby. So Aaron talked a lot about his plant-based, medicine that he uses. He was he wanted to make it very clear. He's like, it's plant stuff. It's not drugs. He's like, people label it as drugs and it's not. He really opened up about all that stuff, which was interesting. I'd be happy to join you at that ayahuasca retreat, Sonny, if the Jets do, in fact, winning Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. Luppy says draft will be key to success. I think the draft could certainly raise the Jets' ceiling. And it can increase their floor if they solidify the offensive line with a stud that can help you. God forbid there's injuries, which if you're a Jet fan, expect injuries to the offensive line. It's a way of life. Lawrence writes, and I really think Rodgers with another wide receiver could set some Jet records. He can last as long as he keeps his game in the pocket. Aaron Rodgers playing 17 games should break just about every single season Jet quarterback record, which is not saying much, but he should. His average full season is 993 yards, 33 passing touchdowns. The Jet single season record for passing yards was Joe Namath in 1967, 4,007. Now, Namath did it in a 14-game season. Rodgers would, in theory, have 17, but still, the fact that Namath's the only quarterback to ever throw for 4,000 yards, and he did it back in 67 tells you all you need to know. The passing touchdown record was set by Fitzpatrick in 2015 with 31. By those measures, Aaron Rodgers' average season would be the greatest single season in Jet history. So, buckle up, boys and girls. Dan writes in, the takeaway from the podcast, the best part was when he spoke about how his biggest successes came after sacrifices or disappointments to the ego death. So he made sacrifice already. Now it's on. Yeah, fascinating, man. He talked a lot about that. Michael says, AR is just a different dude. That's all. He's a little eccentric, yeah, but that ain't a bad thing. Yeah, he talked about the fact that he had to, learn to be comfortable with the fact that he's a football player, but that's not all he is. That it's okay to be a football player hippie, as he quoted himself, poking fun at himself. Fine by me. By the way, Michael, what a logo. What a win by the New York Islanders last night. By the way, met a great listener who stopped me on the concourse at UBS last night. Shout out to listener Jason and his dad. Huge fans of the show. Big Jet fans. Nice to meet them at the game last night. Let's see. Dyke Tyson says, I'm putting money on Aaron Rodgers being comeback player of the year. He's going to be really effing good this season. This team around him is better than it was last year on both sides of the ball, LFG. On paper, I don't know how we could deny that. Chris says, Jalen Brunson MVP. Let's go, Knicks. All three of my teams won last night. Unbelievable. How about Carlos Rodon, by the way? Love seeing that. Big time. Good job by the Yankee bullpen. Yanks are rolling right now. 10-2. Are you kidding me? And Judge hasn't even hit yet. And Cole's not even back, but he threw yesterday for the first time and it went well. Here we go. Roger writes in, good morning, Jake. I'm hoping I'm healthy for the upcoming Jet season. I have 2 doctor appointments this week, but I'm home from the hospital. Roger, we're thinking about you, my man. Sending you positive vibes and good health. Keep us posted. Adam writes in, never count the Bills out, but you're right. They didn't improve this offseason, and Tua still hasn't proved he could stand toe-to-toe with the big boys. No. We have 2 years of sample size that the Dolphins can't beat good teams. 2 years. Last year, 1-5 against teams with a winning record. 1-5. At what point do we say that's what the Dolphins are? A team that can beat the bad teams, but can't beat the good teams. Keith writes in with a super chat. Keith. By the way, shout out to Keith. It's his 10th super that he submitted. It feels like football, all gods were telling us we weren't ready by taking away Rodgers 4 plays in. If you believe that tragic things have to happen for cursed franchises to break through, what's more tragic than losing Aaron Rodgers and then the story ends with him coming back and leading the Jets to a Super Bowl? If you want to do the, destiny storyline angle, it's set up for the Jets. That's the bottom line. Bob writes in, proud to be a Bowers boy, but I want to trade down to 13 to 15 to get him. I think it's a great compromise. If you like Bowers and you can get him a couple picks back, I'm in. Alfonso says, hit the like button on the way in. That's right. 131 likes, 400 people watching. The math's not mathing, people. Hit the like button. Meatballs. Yeah. I mean, I would say you're a meatball if you don't hit the like button. Pittsburgh Mike says, still finishing up the podcast, about an hour left. Jotted some notes down. Not a ton of Jets translation, but still super insightful to understand Aaron Rodgers' thought process. I'm into it. Yeah, it was a great listen. Honestly, every time Aaron Rodgers does these kind of long form interviews, you learn a lot. And it's amazing to me that people hate this guy. More of your calls right now. Here we go. Let's go to Johnny. Hello, Johnny.
Hey, what up, Jake? How you holding up, man?
What's up, Johnny? How are you?
Chilling. Just leaving the officina real quick. This is the office. Hey, I did want to talk about the Aaron Rodgers podcast that he was on. Everybody needs to watch it, dude. It was probably one of the most intriguing, almost mind altering type of and very refreshing podcast, because I don't think we've ever seen a Hall of Fame quarterback, right, that's still playing in the NFL, kind of talk about what he went through, the raw emotions that he was thinking, right, and just the kind of what the other guy, I think it was Pittsburgh Mike, said with the whole his thought process on everything.
Yep,
dude, it's just so he's almost like a savant, bro. It's just so crazy on how meticulous he is on everything he does. When he does something, there's a reasoning why he says this word or that word, and to put it all in context in that interview was awesome, man. So how can you not like this guy, right?
So you would say that Aaron Rodgers is a pretty smart guy then, right?
Of course, yeah.
Forget about his vaccine and political opinions. Aaron's football IQ isn't very high. Aaron's football IQ isn't very high. Aaron's football IQ isn't very high.
That dude's a joke, bro. He's clickbait at that point, right? But I don't know, man. I mean, I'm excited. I think anybody that, for example, I think the best person that talked about Aaron Rodgers was Morstead when he went on that podcast, and he was like, I had this negative thought about Aaron Rodgers, and he completely blew my mind by it was not that at all. One of the most hardworking, caring individuals that I've ever met, and I'm super happy and proud to be with him. Dude, I think it's 2 hours. It's super, super long, but it just keeps you intrigued. And then the guy that's interviewing him, dude, I was busting out laughing at a lot of the stuff that he was saying, because you could tell that dude was off the chain on some of the stuff that he was going into. And last thing real quick, Jake, if anybody wants to know about the whole ayahuasca thing, I don't know if you remember back in the day, True Life, that MTV series, they have an actual showing of the whole process of it and what they actually go through it, if anybody wants to be able to see that. So it's pretty interesting, man. Appreciate you, Broham. You have a good day, dude.
Johnny, always a great call out of you. Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Someone wrote, where can we watch the podcast? Just type in Aaron Rodgers And the name of the podcast, you can watch it on YouTube, is the I Can Fly Pod. Earlier, I had on the screen Top Flight. I had the name wrong. It's the I Can Fly Pod. Very, very good stuff. Hit the like button if you're tuning in right now. Become an Asmaniac. We're only 17 Asmaniacs away from another emoji being added. You can hit the join button on the left. Great way to support the show. Appreciate everyone out there. Thank you guys for your support every day here on this platform. Let's continue to roll with the calls right now. Let's go to Len, who's in the car. Hello, Len.
Hey, Jake, what's happening?
What's up, Len?
Nice to talk to you. And not much. Been just driving at work, listening to you as always. You, I don't know, to go and listen to you every day. I love what Neil had to say. The guy is classic. He's one of the best.
Yes, he is.
But and I even have my wife involved listening to you. When I don't listen to you, she's like, "How come you don't have Jake on?" And
I appreciate that. Tell her I say thank you.
You do a great job, and keep going. Let's go Jets, baby. This is the year. We're going to do it finally. I've followed them my whole life. I've been with them from day one. I saw the Super Bowl. Their Super Bowl win. That's how old I am. So let's go Jets and keep doing the good stuff, Jake. You're the best, bud.
Thanks, Len. Well, good luck to you and your wife. If you're listening to me that much, I apologize. But I appreciate the support. And I hope you're right, man. You're certainly overdue for a Super Bowl. If you saw the last one, God. Aaron says, thanks for all the content, Jake. Makes the offseason go by fast. Thanks for watching, Aaron. Appreciate you guys. The fact that I can make a living talking about a football team every day, year round, speaks volumes about how incredible this fan base is. Andre says, Sauce and Garrett want Bowers. Time to stop hating the talent, Jake. Let me make a couple things clear. I'm not hating the talent. I have always acknowledged Brock Bowers is an outstanding football player. I am simply telling you, I don't fundamentally agree with the Jets taking him at number 10. If they traded back and took him, I would like that a lot more. All right. A couple other things I want to bring up with this. Garrett Wilson's also advocating for Roma Dunze. You know what those guys want? Good football players. You think they're going to care who the Jets take if they hit on the pick? So, come on, man. Garrett and Roma Dunze have a friendship. Because Sauce shared a Bowers highlight last night does not mean that he'd be upset if they took a different player. So don't tell me I'm hating on Bowers. I'm not hating on it. If they took Bowers, I've already been saying that they are not, that I'm not going to kill them for taking him at 10. I would have if they had not already solidified the O-line. But I'm simply saying that if you're the Jets and you're going to take a tight end that high, this guy better be unbelievable. Right away. It's risky. I'd rather the safer pick, the more traditional wide receiver or an offensive lineman. Oh, but Jake, he's not going to play. Okay. You really sure about that? Because I'm not. Paolo writes in with a super chat. Paolo, I want to thank you for your support, my man. I pine daily for the New York Jets schedule to come out. Jake, you're in the know. When is it happening? I must see Aaron Rodgers play. Typically, the schedule comes out around this time 1 month from now. So it wouldn't surprise me if exactly 1 month from now the schedule is out. That Thursday. I think it's Thursday, May 9th. Now, I'll be at the Yankee game, I think, with the Asmaniacs that night. So maybe I'll have to do a live stream late night when I get back from the game, if indeed that's the day. But it hasn't been confirmed yet. The NFL has not announced it. But I would look for the schedule release date to be Thursday, May 9th, I think would be a logical date. And if not that date, I would say Thursday, May 16th could be another schedule release date. So be on the lookout for that. More calls right now. Let's go to Tim from Fishland. Hello, Tim.
Hey, Jake. So, I watched the podcast yesterday when I was at work. I listened to it. And, he goes into detail and he's completely right. Now, any type of substance you use, people can abuse it. It doesn't matter, even with gambling. Okay. But me, in my younger 20s, I definitely dabbled in some psychedelic stuff. Okay. And they actually have proof, this whole thing where everybody thinks he's a drug addict. He's a loony, this and that. The stuff actually really does open up your mind. Okay. There's proven studies with psilocybin, the mushrooms, where they're helping with anxiety and depression. Okay. It brings you back to the euphoric type of state when you were like a toddler almost, and you're exploring the world again. Okay. And a lot of people just are closed-minded to that, so they bash the man about it.
Yeah, look, I think if you actually hear the guy talk, it's not like he's talking about doing like drugs and like tripping out and like
Well, see, that's the thing is I used to be like that. I used to do hard drugs. So I know what drugs are. You know what I mean? Like hard drugs. Okay. I pulled myself out of it, but you know what I mean? Some people can't. That stuff is very hard to get addicted to. You have to be in the right frame to even do it. Because if you do it, it could be a completely bad experience if you're not in the right frame, mindset wise.
he's talking about like plant-based stuff too, Tim. Like it's like very different than like hard drugs. Like he made it very clear. He's like, I'm not going to like EDM concerts and like, tripping on like acid and Molly and all that. Like they had a whole conversation about like what specifically ayahuasca is, what specifically some of the plant-based stuff he's done. Talked about how him and Jordan Poyer have formed a friendship over some of that stuff. It was an interesting conversation, seriously. Speaking of interesting conversations, ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Midnight. Hello, Bobby.
Hey, how you doing, Jake?
Bobby.
Nice talking to you again, as usual.
Yes, Bobby.
Congratulations on your Islanders win.
It was a big one, Bobby.
Yeah, you must be ecstatic.
That's right. They'll do it again on Saturday against the Rags.
It was, what's the name, Boomer Esiason there last night?
I don't think he was there.
His son-in-law plays for the Islanders.
His son-in-law is Matt Martin, correct?
Yes, he plays for the Islanders.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Because I saw him when his daughter and he was on the show. So, yeah, the Yankees won again last night. I was happy about that.
That's right.
And then with living in New York, right? Do you like hot dogs at all?
I love hot dogs.
Do you ever eat the spread hot dogs?
I've had it before. I had a hot dog last night at the Islander game.
I know you could go up to the carts and get it right in Manhattan. I love spread hot dogs.
Oh, yeah, Bobby. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Let's go to B-Mac. He's up next. What's up, B-Mac?
Hey, Jake. Yeah, man. Another great podcast. The one thing I kind of like about Rodgers is that he talks about things not football related. People say, well, he should just talk about football. Well, you do know, like, there's more than life than football. You know what I mean? Like, football is something that entertains us. You know what I mean? Like there's good things going on in the world that you can, that's more important. So,
B-Mac, did you not pay the cable bill? Why is the TV turned off behind you?
Oh, well, I turn it off so Alan doesn't have to keep bothering me about law and order. You know what I mean? Because in the chat he can say, "Oh, what's law and order?" You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. So, Alan, you will not get that because you do not deserve nice things. So the TV's off. You are in punishment. Now, Alan, I will say this: if you call in being nice to Jake and stop making dumb comments, then I can turn it on and you can watch it. But for now, Alan, you are grounded. So, yeah. So that's why it's off. But I saw Gator. Shout out to Gator too, man. I saw what he did, man, and that dude, he's pretty talented. You know what I mean? So I mean, I think Gator should do some production or something, man, because he's too talented. You know, like he shouldn't be wasting his wasting his talent. You know, I'm not saying that he shows bad, but I just think that he should do more with his talents because that dude is pretty good at what he does.
You're encouraging Gator to leave the Jake Asman show?
No, he can do both. He can do do the show and then he can make production. You know what I mean? But it's just he's so great with what he does. So,
I know what you mean.
So shout out to him. Yeah. One question I do want to bring up to you. You know, people still keep talking about Rodgers last year, saying that if you take Rodgers' same statistics he had in 2022, right? And you put him, and let's say he has that production this year with this Jets team and Jets roster. Do you think that's still enough to make to win the division?
Yes, I think they win the AFC East if he replicates 2022, which for him was a down year, which is funny because it'd be one of the greatest single season years in Jet history.
That's it, Jake.
B-Mac, I love it. Here's what I need from you though moving forward. Got to put the Rodgers jersey we sent you last year back on. I need B-Mac calls to have the AR Jets jersey on again. It's time. It's time. Ladies and gentlemen, you knew this guy was capable of saying something beyond stupid. Bang Mateo says, AR seems defeated. How could you listen to the quote we played, the clip, and have that as your take? The only way you could have that as your take is if your name is simply Bang Mateo. We will see you later. To the Shadow Realm you go.
Into the Shadow Realm you go.
That's the problem with Aaron Rodgers. This guy is a cancer that's metastasized throughout the entire building in Florham Park. And I don't know why Jets fans can't see it.
Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
Ladies and gentlemen, T. Rivera has decided to show people the money.
Show me the money. Show me the money! Money, money, money.
In a shocking turn of events, T. Rivera has gifted 5 memberships. Gator McCluskey has received a membership. Allen is now a member again. Good God. Dan, Pittsburgh Mike, Rico the Pup, courtesy of T. Rivera, now gifted memberships. Welcome aboard another month as an Asmaniac, courtesy of T. Rivera. Very kind of you, T. We are now, what? I think it was 70 before the show, 65 Asmaniacs away from a new emoji. Should the Henny emoji come next? What should our next emoji be? These are the questions we ask. Jeffrey writes in, Jake, congrats on getting back to the East Coast. I'm in H-Town. I wish I knew you were here all those years. Could have grabbed a beer and screened at the TV on game day. Love what you do, brother. Go Jets. Jeffrey, I miss Houston dearly. Go to the Jet Bar during the season, though. Go to Christian's Tailgate in the Energy Corridor location and you watch all the Jet games there like I did. Great people down there. Ton of Jet fans. Honestly, I wish the Jets were playing the Texans in Houston this season, not at MetLife. I'll tell you what, I can already tell you the next road trip we make whenever the Jets are playing the Texans in Houston will be Houston because I know that city. So I will plan a hell of a weekend if we get Jets Texans in Houston. Maybe we'll get it in the playoffs. Who knows? NY Jets Florida up next. Hello, NY.
Hey, Jay. Good morning. I haven't listened to the Aaron Rodgers thing. First of all, I want to say that we all have to be a little insane to be Jet fans at some level. That's the first thing. Literally, maybe not by the medical term, but mentally. I didn't listen to the Rodgers thing, but the fact that he kept mentioning, what did he mention? His ego. I mean, everyone has an ego. Anyone who's successful has a bigger ego. But if you're at that level and you have to check your ego and be humble, that's a dangerous kind of athlete that's going to come out of the gates, ready to go next year. He's going to be fueled. He's going to be ready. He's going to be motivated to prove everybody wrong. I mean, that's the kind of guy you want. You want a guy, a Hall of Famer with a chip on his shoulder. That, you know what I mean, Jake? I mean, you're only fueling the fire for that guy.
Yeah, I mean, the last time he had this big of a chip on his shoulder, he won back-to-back MVPs after they took Jordan Love. Now he's got a whole year of people doubting him. People were doubting him before he even played for the Jets, right? Oh, he's didn't have a good year. He's not going to be good anymore. And then he got hurt. And so you have that now amplified with a full year. I actually think Aaron Rodgers has become underrated by even some Jet fans now. Like, I don't think people truly realize what it's going to be like to have a quarterback because people are just so scarred from the Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold era of football that we watched, you know?
Yeah, it was so bad last year. I mean, can you imagine if we had some semblance of an offense? But let me ask you a quick question. On the Dallas Cowboy front, what do you think about the smoke coming out of that franchise? I mean, you think that CeeDee Lamb could be on the move, or someone has to be on the move sooner or later? Do you think, who do you think it would be? I would love to get CD. I know it would take a lot, but why not if we can afford him?
I don't think CeeDee Lamb's getting traded, so I'm not going to even entertain it. It's not going to happen. If it does, I'll say I'm wrong. I don't see it. I don't see any way Dallas in an all-in years trading him. They need him. They're going to make the mistake they made with Amari Cooper? No way. They'll pay him. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Bobby Midnight says, I want to be an emoji. We get enough Asmaniac memberships, Bobby. We'll make you an emoji. Brazil Jet says, Odunze's him, but Brian Thomas could be with the right QB. I like Brian Thomas. I think Odunze's better. I wouldn't take Brian Thomas at 10. I would take Odunze at 10 and wouldn't think about it. Brian Thomas, I'd like in a trade down. Those are my personal thoughts on that. All right, let's get back into your calls right now. Gary's up next. Hello, Gary.
What's going on, Jake? Okay, I wrote this down because I had no interest in listening to this until you told me that he was talking about like plant-based medicine. And I don't take an Advil. I don't take a Tylenol. Everything I take is plant-based. So now I'm interested. It's called I Can Fly. That's what it's called?
Yep.
Okay. Is it a football podcast or what's this?
Nope. It's an everything podcast.
Okay. I'll check that out. This idea that like Aaron Rodgers is a cancer. It's like, I understand why people don't like him personally, right? But he's not a bad guy. You're not finding him at 4:00 in the morning taking crack, beating hookers up in alleyways, right? Like, he's never done anything detrimental to himself or his team. He's just a little bit weird, right? And would I want to play golf with him? Would I want to go out to dinner with him? Probably not. Do I want him to play quarterback? You
wouldn't want to get dinner with Aaron Rodgers or play golf with him? He's got unbelievable stories and he's fascinating to talk to.
To me, he comes on. I think it's why people don't like him. And he's not like Kyrie Irving in the sense that like Kyrie Irving does things that are detrimental to his team, but he's like Kyrie Irving in the sense that like it's just weird. And there's nothing wrong with weird. I don't really want to play golf with you. Like if he's my neighbor, like, do I want him at my cookout? I mean, he can come, but like, he's not my first guest, the kind of thing. He comes up to me as like,
you're a Jet fan. You wouldn't want the starting quarterback of the Jets to be at your cookout.
He comes off as like the dorm room philosopher who stays in his dorm all day and smokes weed and thinks he's smart.
He calls himself a hippie. That's his personality. He's embraced it.
Fine, do it. Like I don't hate. Like if I can root for Garrett Wilson, I can root for Aaron Rodgers.
What? I don't understand what does Garrett Wilson have anything to do with Aaron Rodgers?
Do you know where Garrett Wilson grew up?
He's from Austin.
Yeah. You know where he went to college?
Ohio State.
Yeah, he grew up 11 miles from UT Austin and leaves the state of Texas and goes to Ohio State.
You guys weren't any good. Ohio State's been so much better than Texas.
Because we didn't get Garrett Wilson. Do you think we would have been better if we had Garrett Wilson?
It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. You guys have all these 5 stars until Sark turned it around this past year. Texas was always having 5 stars and they didn't win.
That's a fair point. Like the recruiting classes were never the problem.
Believe me, I know. I lived in Houston. We covered UT.
Knockouts don't matter if you land enough jabs. You can do music.
I couldn't do more Gary today, folks. I'm sorry. Some of you are probably happy. Steve Rivera writes in, hey, Jake, I won $400 on underdog betting on the Knicks game last night with just $20. Thanks for the advice. Boom. T, I wish you shared your picks with me, man. I appreciate you paying it forward, though. That's why you gifted 5 memberships. That's awesome. Good for you, T. Congrats. Shout out to everyone who uses Underdog. I did not win my Underdog pick we shared on the show. Breadman didn't have enough shots on net, and that cooked the 4 picks we had. That was a weird Gary call, by the way. You won't want Aaron Rodgers at your cookout or play golf with him? You don't have to talk about plant-based medicine with him. You can talk about football. If you're a Jet fan? What a weird-ass call. The only thing we can do to try and recover from said call is to sing along.
It's time for another V-Man call. Hopefully he not sleeping. Adios mio.
V-Man is up next. Hello, V-Man.
Hey, Jake, how you doing?
I'm good, V-Man. How are you?
I honestly enjoyed I agree with what you're saying about Aaron Rodgers. He does look like he's completely, he's changed, for the better. And I agree with that, and it gets you excited and you see, what this team is going to be potential-wise with him. It's just going to be insane.
And his backup is Tyrod Taylor. So if you don't assume Rodgers misses another full season, but if he has to miss some games here or there, you don't. It's on an automatic loss, like at times it felt like last year.
No, I agree. Like I said, yeah, no. And the thing I'm going to be looking forward to, the thing I really want to hope for with the schedule-wise is because if I'm correct, since we always play division rivals last, correct?
Well, you always end the year with a division opponent.
Yeah. So until we already did the Bills the year before. We did the Patriots. So this year would be the Dolphins, correct?
It's random, though, because remember, they played the Dolphins at the end of the season several times. That's happened.
Yeah, if any team in the division I want to play at the end of the year, I want to play the Dolphins at the end of the year in MetLife because that team is not going to be prepared for the cold.
Yeah, I think you'd want to play Miami later in the year if you can for that reason. I honestly though, I think I don't want to play the Patriots late in the year. I think you want to get New England much earlier so you could kind of bank 2 wins in theory, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, that too. Yeah, I want to play them early. Just get those easy wins out of the way, before you'll get the team into a rhythm against a softer opponent.
I agree. V-Man, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Have you done any research on your Italian heritage?
I don't really know much about it. Like I said, I only have one Italian grandparent. The other one, on my father's, this is my grandfather. One grandparent is Italian. The other one is from the Canary Islands in Spain.
Are you going to learn to speak Italian eventually?
Probably not. Because I don't have much of it because it wasn't that a big focal point in my life. Like I said, I only saw him a couple months out of the year.
So I would say you're actually not Port Italian and proud. You're just Puerto Rican and proud. I think you got to remove. Honestly, I think it's come to a point where since you're not embracing your Italian heritage whatsoever, V-Man, you have to remove Port Italian. No, I don't think you are.
Maybe I'll think about it, but I mean, I will tell you this: I do a hand tossed dough for pizza. I'll tell you that.
What do you put on your pizza toppings?
I just do the basics. I do it tradition. I do very just the basic pepperoni.
Okay. How do you feel about buffalo chicken or penne pasta? How do you feel about other stuff like that? Anchovies.
All right.
Pineapple guy, V-Man?
No, not anchovies.
No? Okay.
No.
Now, I've made the executive decision as the host and producer of the show to change your name for you. You're not just Puerto Rican and proud. All right, we got rid of the Italian part. You're not embracing it.
Whatever. All right.
Yep. I get it, V-Man. Look at your new name. Gator, take note.
That's the end of that V-Man call. Now he can go back to sleeping.
It needed to be done, folks. It needed to be done. If you're just tuning in live, become an Asmaniac. Shout out to T. Rivera. He gifted 5 memberships earlier. You don't need to wait for someone to gift you a membership. You can just hit the join button, and you'll get the loyalty badge instantly next to your name. custom emojis to use in the chat and in the comment section, shows released early, and much more. Sham writes in, he's got to fight to earn the Italian part back. See, I wish YouTube would let you just gift specific memberships to people. I'd give Sham a membership right now. He's the architect of our Discord. V-Man's got to fight to earn the Italian part back. It's true. It's true. Let's go to Southern Jet. He's up next. Hello, Southern Jet.
Good morning. Yeah, Gary's gonna look back on that call and say, WTF was I talking about?
Yeah, that was, I think Gary was on plant-based medicine this morning.
I was gonna say, a lot of people want to give him a call and find out, where can they buy the, the ounce that he had for I think Gary smoked breakfast is what the way I usually put it. I saw that interview yesterday when I was babysitting my grandson, and some people said fiery and got a fire in his belly. Yeah, I get that. But what I took out of it was a calmness, and that's what I think makes him even more dangerous, because he's always been the best at reading defenses, calling the audibles and the stuff at the line of scrimmage. And you make a calmer Aaron Rodgers, and as he said in the thing, with dropping the ego, it made him more confident. I just, that's where I think his super strength is going to be, is identifying defenses and calling the right reads this year, and or going to the draw play, the RPOs. I just wanted to make that comment. But the other thing I wanted to say, you touched. Yeah,
Relax.
Yeah, reminds me of college. Oh Jesus, you got me. You touched on it. What I originally was calling about was picking up on what Neil was talking about. What? Oh, yeah, I just want to see if I had it up. Yeah. What do you think would be the? I know we don't know the times. No one wants to go to Minnesota, in December. But what do you think could be the likely road trips this year that we might be taking? Forget, London. I know that you're going to do that, but other than London, if they get a London, what do you think? You mentioned Texas because, like I said, you stole the thunder a little bit.
Well, they don't have any. They don't have a Texas trip this year.
Oh, okay. You said yeah. Okay, you're right. I was looking at Tennessee here. So we got our division. But we got the Steel.
Yeah, Nashville would be a good one. Pittsburgh, I think, would be.
Oh, you're right.
I actually do think Minnesota would be great. That stadium is awesome. So I think that'd be a fun, depending on when it.
No, I meant. Okay, December. You think? Yeah.
I don't know when I don't know where these games are slotted yet. So I'm gonna wait to see when the schedule comes out, and then we'll pick a couple cities that are front runners and try and narrow it down to what makes the most sense. Arizona would be great, right? We have a lot of Jet fans that live out there.
How about San Fran?
San Fran would be fun too. It depends how far people are willing to go. But the thing with San Fran that I think would be tough, they don't play in San Francisco. They play like 45, 50 minutes outside San Fran, Santa Clara. So
it's like the airport when you drive to you fly into one of those airports and you got to go 40 minutes to get to the city.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna do like a true Asmaniac road trip, like we want a city where it's walkable, it's all kind of built in. That's why Nashville. I've been to Nashville. I was there for the draft a couple of years ago and had a blast. Like that would make a lot of sense.
Everybody says Nashville is a great city. I agree with you. I think that would be, and you can do that any time of the year. It's like Raleigh. The weather's, Raleigh, the worst time of the year, you put a fleece on. It's never cold. And shout out to I'm gonna go now. Shout out to the Islanders and a shout out to the Canes kicking the Bruins' ass last night.
Absolutely. I mean, look,
are we gonna play each other? Or who's playing? Oh.
They might. I mean, it's still up for grabs because the Islanders could finish as the second wild card, the third in the Metro, and it's all kind of clunkered up right now. But the Islanders do control their own destiny, which is why winning last night was so big.
I think they're going to get in.
From your lips to God's ears, Rich. I'd be like the Islanders have played the Hurricanes enough. I'd rather play the Rangers in the first round. As crazy as that is, all the pressure's on the Rangers, all of it. So. That's how I would look at it. New Jersey Super Trucker said, send him to Super Stupid Town. This was in reference to Gary. It was a weird call. It certainly was. All right, here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a very quick break and talk about Roan Apparel, and we'll be right back. Let's talk about fashion, and let's talk about how to upgrade your closet. I'm going to tell you about Roan Apparel. Roan stepped up to the challenge. Their commuter collection is the most comfortable, breathable, and truly versatile set of products known to man. They got products for every occasion. We're talking about the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, polos. The commuter collection from Roan can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/Asman and use promo code Asman to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/Asman. When you look nice, you feel nice. Once again, upgrade your closet by heading over to roan.com and use promo code Asman at checkout so you can receive 20% off. Check it out. Shout out to Roan. They're going to be dressing me for the NFL draft in Vegas at the end of this month. All right. Once again, want to thank everyone who tuned in today's show. This was a lot of fun. We will be back later today. Reminder, we're doing the giveaway on Instagram, so check me out there at Jake Asman if you want an opportunity to win a Gustbuster umbrella in honor of Masters Week, baby. All the umbrellas you see the golfers using at Augusta, chances are they're Gustbuster umbrellas. Tiger Woods, Jordan Spieth, Brooks Koepka. That's right. All of them use Gustbuster. Go to gustbuster.com and get yours and use promo code Jake for 15% off at checkout. Thanks again to everyone who took time to watch. Thanks to all the callers. Couldn't do it without you. All the super chats, channel members. Thank you for your support. Once again, this is the Jake Asman Show. And to quote Robert Saleh, I suck, we all suck. I'll talk to you guys soon.
When you lose, you're a loser. I suck, Joe D sucks, we all suck.